We're constantly in training as parents. Remember, we're hitting the ground with our feet already moving. Very little education in school. So what are some of the top strategies? Today's video is 7 tips to help parents parent a little more effectively and a little more satisfyingly. Welcome to our channel. We're here to provide free resources to help you improve your life, your mental fitness, relationships, overall quality of life. Stay tuned at the end of this video where we'll provide a couple of good references for you to use in your parenting. The better we know ourselves, our little quirks, our idiosyncrasies, our wounds, the things we're carrying from our own childhood, some of the upsets. If you think about the mind, it's designed to kind of hold on to information. And when your children hit certain ages, it releases information from your own childhood to kind of help you relate and understand those children at each stage of development. When there are wounds or upsets or hurts in your past, that can also get transferred or trickle onto the child. So it's very important for us as parents to become more and more aware of ourselves, our own buttons and triggers and things that are going on in the unconscious mind. Part of knowing ourselves is thinking about the messages, the cognitive loading we received, as well as any adverse childhood experiences you might have had. It could be the death of a loved one, car accidents, it could be abuse, violence, etc. Those will have an impact on our parenting capacity and can distort us being balanced when it comes to parenting. The second tip I want to focus on is boosting child self-esteem. That's a big part of our role, is to boost their self-esteem. My mother-in-law said this to me once, long before I had any training in this field. She said, remember to tell them the things they do well. And that's one of the greatest strategies for improving self-esteem in children. When they do something, praise them, jump up and down with excitement. And then also a week or two, a month or two later, or even 5-10 years later, remind them. That's very helpful for a child to build their identity and build their sense of self. The third tip is setting limits. This is probably one of the central components. Again, when there's more stress and duress, sometimes we need a little bit more structure. Setting limits is very important to alleviate anxiety and save energy. So when we are struggling for the limits and constantly negotiating and bantering about what the limits are, it's kind of a waste of energy. So we do want to figure out the limits and then set those limits. Your child might be 3 or 4, not allowed out the door. Your child might be 6 or 7, not allowed farther than a block. Whatever those limits are, we do want to be clear about them. And of course, in the teen years, curfews, allowances, whether they drive the car, borrow the car or not. A lot of different things are up for negotiation. So setting those limits can really help the whole family know what's happening next. Of course, if we have too many rules, that can be a little bit frustrating and boring, but too few will be chaotic and nerve-wracking. It's important for us to put consequences in place. The use of time in, time out, some chores, little tasks that they can do, very valuable for solidifying really the requirement and the expectations that you have around rules and how people treat one another. That's probably one of the biggest rules that gets let go, is how people treat one another. Lots of parents will come in and say they didn't get along, the kids don't get along, they don't like each other. That's our job, we're the coaches of the team. So helping children get along would be a rule, that it's important to treat each other well, both verbally and non-verbally. It is important to continually work on how we communicate, both non-verbally and verbally. Close to 80-90% of our communication that we pay attention to is non-verbal. So the use of the face and the tone, very, very important. When we're communicating with our children, it's important to get low too. Maybe get really low, even at their eye level or lower. So they would be less intimidated, maybe less feeling a threat or something. The animal's designed to feel that when someone's a lot taller and larger. What is it you want to model? You want to model honesty? Then someone gives you $5 extra at the grocery store, you might want to give it back right in front of your child and let them see that. In one of the Psych 101 books, that dad was shaving and the little child's down there faking like he's shaving. So it's important for us to model what it is we're looking for. We say be polite, and then we're not polite. We say be friendly, we're not friendly. We say use your manners, and then we don't use our manners. Oh, let's go back to point number 1. Parents, remind everybody, not perfect. And the child will see you admit that, and then it's easier for them to admit that. So we want to model generosity, kindness, forgiveness, honesty, any of the qualities you want to see developed in your child. We've got to develop them in ourselves at the same time. We're getting trained as we're training our children. So give yourself a break on that when you get up in the morning and go to bed at night. You're a wonderful parent. Think of yourself as a wonderful mom, wonderful dad, and you've got work to do. Lifelong learning, training. And the last thing when you think of modeling is love. A lot of people get confused. What is love? What is love? Like the great song, what is love? Love is a verb. Love is an action. And we kind of know by the time we're 3, 4, 5 what loving behavior is. And we're quite aware of what it isn't. So you might want to give the family a rule. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 strikes, you're out. 2 or 3 unloving comments or phrases, that might warrant your time out. So modeling is very important. We're not going to be perfect at it. We're modeling the best we can. And when we blow it, maybe we put ourselves on a timeout. But at the very least, we acknowledge that with our children, and they see how you can recover from a time when you didn't do as well as you'd like. Number 6, invest your time. I'm sitting in an armchair, and I'm looking at my day timer, figuring out my schedule for the next day. And my daughter, maybe she's 11 or 12, she comes up to me and says, am I in your calendar? And she sparked a really interesting concept. Wow, why don't we put the kids in the calendar? Why don't we book lunches, pick them up at school, take them out? We even developed the 10A program. When you get 10 A's on any project, we'll take you out for lunch, you can pick the place, and we have one-on-one time. You can do a lot of different creative things to invest your time. But make sure when you're allotting your time in your calendar that you're logging in time for family, logging in time for even family development and training for parents. The 7th point is love. Bottom line is love. You feel it? Every parent. I've met parents, so many parents in the last 30 years. I haven't met a single parent who didn't love their kids. I think we're all struggling with how to show it. How to show it better, a little bit more effectively, day in and day out. So keep love at the center. Keep your vision and your mission for your family there, and keep it founded on loving interactions, loving attitudes, and loving behaviors. So those are 7 tips that can help parents think a little differently and maybe give you a little bit of support when you're under extra stress or duress when it comes to parenting. Children are not easy to raise. As human animals, our mammal species takes the longest to raise their young. So if you're feeling tired and worn out some days, you're normal. Finally, those books I was promising, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, very valuable for preteens, tweens, as well as teens, and the parents and caregivers that are looking after them. 1, 2, 3 Magic by Thomas Phelan is a valuable book as well. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and send us a comment or two if you have a video you'd like us to speak more about or a specific topic we can expand on. But most of all, thanks for coming in and thanks for looking for resources to help you improve your parenting and mental fitness and overall relationships. Take care out there.